Hi guys, it's Mr. Columbuneal. So we're actually going to start into biology today. Yeah, it's exciting, right? So we're going to start with chapter 1. It's called The Science of Life. And to start off, we're going to talk about what biology is. Well, you guys probably already know from past classes and stuff, going back to 7th grade, biology is going to be the study of life. Now, as you move through your high school career, you're going to take, biology this year. Next year, you're going to move to chemistry. Chemistry is going to be the study of inorganic things, in other words, non-living things. This is going to be the atoms, the molecules, tiny things that make up your body. But in biology, what we're going to talk about is all these living things in your body and how everything works together in order to keep you running. So at the beginning of the year, I always like to show this picture. And it's a bird, and there's a fish in it. And I always ask the students, okay, look at this picture. What questions do you have just by looking at this picture? And a lot of the time students will say, well, look at the color of it. Look at the color of the bird. Why is it that color? Or, hey, I see it's eating a fish. Well, why is it eating a fish? Is there other animals that it might like to eat better? Or where does it live in the world? I'm like, okay, but let's just concentrate on the fish. Let's talk about what it's actually doing. And then I switch the picture to this. So I did not take this picture. Some of the pictures in my PowerPoints, guys, I have taken through different experiences. But this picture right here, I actually saw firsthand whenever I was on vacation. Now, this is a little bit photoshopped, as you can tell. But I'm on vacation and totally, science nerd. I'm geeking out. I see this bird. This one's called Nanhinga. It's in the heron family of birds. But I see this heron, and it's just watching the fish in the water, and then all of a sudden the heron just dives down, grabs this fish, and now it's got this fish in its mouth. The fish is entirely too big to fit into the heron's mouth and down its throat hole. So I'm just watching, and the fish is flapping in the heron's mouth. Its tail's going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like amazed that this heron is trying to fit this fish in its mouth because it's just entirely too big. So I'm watching it, and the heron just puts its beak with the fish back into the water and back out, and back into the water and back out. And I'm like, what the heck is it doing? So I realized after some time what it was doing was trying to get some water on the fish and in its throat so that the fish would slide easier and it wouldn't, have to worry about the scales, but the fish would slide down the heron's throat. And after maybe, 20 minutes, I'm a total geek. I was watching a bird for a while. But after some time, the fish actually slid right down the heron's mouth. It was amazing to me. But anyway, in biology, these are the types of things we talk about. So different scenarios and things like that. And this is just a nice scenario I like to begin the year with. So we're going to start off with talking about what makes something living. And there's actually 8 different characteristics that make things living. Now, if you guys were reading the book or looking through the book says there's 7. I like to use 8 just because I like to expand on one. I think it makes it a little bit easier to understand. So let's start off. 8 characteristics of life. The first thing, and if you look here in the picture, you might be asking yourself, okay, what are these? They kind of look like a breakfast cereal or something like that. But these are your red blood cells. So this is what makes up your red part of your blood. So our first characteristic of life is everything living has to be made up of at least one cell. Most things are multicellular, made up of more than one cell. But in order to be living, you have to be made up of at least one cell. In your book, as a definition, they say cells are the basic unit of structure and function in an organism. Pretty much what this says, guys, is cells are living, and as cells get together with other cells, they can perform different functions. All right, talked about that one. And all these cells are going to make up bigger things in your body. They might be making up your lungs or your brain. In other words, guys, we're going to pow all these cells together, and then we're going to get your organs. Okay. This here, now if we go back, let me just go back here real quick. Here are your red blood cells. They're round. They're very nice shaped. It's easy to identify these. Now, if you go to this type of cell, this is a completely different type of cell. This is a brain cell or a neuron. Okay, it looks a little bit different than the other cells. The reason being is this cell has to literally send responses and things to other cells. So different cells in your body are going to look different depending on what their function is. There's two different types of cells that make up organisms. There's going to be organisms that are unicellular, which they're only made up of one cell. Okay. Examples of these are going to be, that is bacteria. No, it's not like what cheese curls or whatever that have gone like bad over time, you know. But yeah, that's bacteria. So that's unicellular. And then also plankton from SpongeBob. He was a unicellular organism. All right. Other type, we're going to have multicellular. These are organisms made up of many cells. So examples of these. Nice big shark there. Great white shark. That is a multicellular organism. All right. Now, right now I'm sticking to well, he's a fish, but more like the animal family of things. But there's also plants. Plants are all multicellular. You know, we eat plants. We're eating multicellular organisms. Okay. All right. So our first characteristic of life was made up of one or more cells. Our second one, we're going to have levels of organization. In other words, just so you guys can read the bottom there, your lungs are made up of millions and millions of cells. All right. So we're going to have different levels of organization where cells get together and they make up tissues. Tissues get together and they make up organs, and so on and so forth, okay? We'll go over that in a little bit later. Okay, so in your levels of organization, the tiniest thing in your body is going to be, that is considered living, is an organelle. Now, these organelles are going to start to get together and they make up your cell, okay? The organelles are made up of a bunch of little molecules and atoms, okay? But the organelles are these tiny structures that make up your cell. Now, why they call them organelles? Organelles literally means tiny organs, so it's like tiny organs inside your cell. So that's your first level of organization. Second one is the cell. We already talked about the cell, so I don't need real big explanation. So as we put organelles together, we get a cell. Next, as we put cells together, we get a tissue, okay? We have different tissues in our body that do different things. We have connective tissue that's going to literally, as it says, connect different things together. It might be connecting muscle to muscle or muscle to bone or bone to bone, okay? And then we have different tissues that make up your muscles, your nerves, all these different things, right? As we put tissues together, we're going to get organs, all right? So muscles are actually not organs, okay? They're just tissues. But all these different ones here in the picture are organs, okay? Now, so far we went organelles, that's going to be our smallest. Then we went to cells. Then we went to tissues. Now we're at organs. If we put organs together, we are going to get organ systems. These are things that work together for a common purpose. In other words, your respiratory system is going to be made up of your lungs, your nose, your mouth, your esophagus, all this stuff. I'm sorry. Your air pipe going down to your lungs, all these different things in order to keep you oxygenated, keep air entering your body. Your digestive system, that's going to be your esophagus, your stomach, all your intestines, and then lastly your colon. That is a bunch of different organs that work together to bring food into your body and then expel waste. So again, we now have organelles. They are put together to make up cells. Cells put cells together, we get tissues. Tissues, you put those together, you get organs. Organs, put those together, you get organ systems. And if we put all of our organ systems together, we finally get an organism, and that's you playing jump rope with a T-Rex. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know where that came from, guys, but it's a funny picture. I like it. So yeah. Okay. So those are your first two characteristics of life. Your next one, we grow and develop. All right. Development is going to be a change over time, and it makes us more complex. I don't know why I like this picture, but it's like a pumpkin kind of developing into, zombies. I don't know. But anyway, when you guys develop, if you ever notice, like when you're in, I don't know, 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade, you're like going outside and you're like playing basketball or football or whatever, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is that smell? It's disgusting. And then you're like, oh, it's me. Well, I better start using deodorant or something. You're developing. You're hitting puberty, so your body is going through some changes. So in order for something to be living, it has to grow and develop. Okay, so those were our 3. And number 4, it has to be able to reproduce. And this is going to be our last characteristic of life we're going to go over today. Tomorrow we'll go over number 5 through 8. What is this guy? Oh my goodness. All right, I got a story, of course. I was down at Myrtle Beach years and years ago. And there was this, like, not a zoo, but it had different animals in it, but it wasn't quite as big of a zoo. And I see this thing, and I'm like, what is that? And it was before these were very well known. But this is a liger. And they have ligers down there in the Myrtle Beach, like, zoo thing. And a liger is going to be a cross between a male lion and a female tiger. And they are gigantic. They literally keep growing until they die. All right. I got a little video for you guys on the liger. Hold on.
Weighing in at nearly a ton and as big as a horse, the liger is the true definition of weird. The hybrid offspring of a male lion and a female tiger, ligers are only created when the two rival cat species meet in captivity. And clearly, opposites attract. The resulting genetic cocktail cooks up a giant, a supercat that is so big it may be too heavy to hunt. In the lion world, size equals dominance. So male lions pass on genes that encourage growth. But the females know that big doesn't always equal better. And their genes keep male cubs from getting too large. So it's thought that their whole litter has a better chance to survive. Tigresses don't carry a gene that inhibits the size of their cubs. So when a tigress falls for a guy from the wrong continent, their baby can end up bigger than both of the parents combined. That may be a face even a mother can't love.
Okay, so kind of cool with the video, guys, and I like to show a good bit of videos, so you'll get to see more later. But anyway, so the liger is a male lion with a female tiger. And the problem is there's these genes called growth inhibiting genes which stop you from growing. Well, the liger, because it's a male lion who doesn't have a growth inhibiting gene, in the lion kingdom it's from the female, that's how you inherit it. And the tiger, it's a female, and the male tiger has the growth inhibiting gene. So there's no growth inhibiting genes in the liger. So what this means is they never stop growing. That's what we mean by growth inhibiting. They never stop growing. They keep growing and growing and growing and growing until, well, probably their organs fail and they die. Yeah, that kind of got sad real quick. But anyway, so they're very, very pretty animals, but they will never ever mate in the wild because lions are from Africa and tigers are from Asia, completely different continents. They can't cross gigantic bodies of water to go mate. And now I know some of you probably are like, hey, wait, Mr. Calm, there are lions in Asia. There are. They are extremely, the Asian lion is extremely endangered, and they're only in one area. They're all in captivity in one area. They are in the wild, but they're like kind of fenced in. So if you even go near them, like they shoot you and kill you immediately. That's how endangered and important the Asian lion is. They're trying to make sure it doesn't go extinct. Kind of crazy. But anyway, the liger is never created in the wild. It's always created in captivity somewhere. So they pretty much like force them to mate. It's kind of crazy. Now, with the liger, the thing is that they never mate in the wild And now they're trying to figure out, okay, are they able to reproduce? Well, they tried it. And the Liger actually cannot produce offspring. So the Liger is not fertile, okay? They can't have babies, in other words. All right. So as we finish up the fourth characteristic of life, a species is a group of animals that can breed with one another and produce fertile offspring. Okay, so the Liger, it can't reproduce. It can't make offspring. So that means the Liger, even though we can make it, it's not considered a real species because it can't reproduce. All right. So, and then the second thing there, all genes or single traits in DNA are replicated when reproduction occurs. So that's the other thing with reproduction, guys. As we reproduce, all of our genes, everything that makes up us, is going to be replicated, and they're going to be passed on to our offspring. Okay? And there is your lovely picture of different Ligers. All right, so we will stop here for today, guys. We'll go over number 5 through 8 tomorrow, and you guys have a good rest of your day.